I'm Matthew Broude. I'm Councilor Santana's Director of Policy and Communications.
Tell me, Matthew, why did you become a poll worker and how long have you been doing it for?
So I think I actually originally saw a post on social media, I want to say it was on Twitter, that the elections department was looking for poll workers, and I thought it would be a useful way to help and volunteer. I actually did not know at the time that poll workers actually do get paid, sort of a modest stipend. But that was about 2 years ago, and I've worked 7 elections since then, and this upcoming election will be my 8th.
So tell me more about this role. I mean, what does it entail? What do you do? What does the day look like?
So it depends a little bit on what you do as a poll worker. So there's kind of broadly speaking, wardens who are basically the chief election officer for the polling location, which is what I normally do, and basically are in charge of all the staff. And then the clerk who keeps all the records in concert with the warden. And then there's inspectors who are the people who check you in and check you out and help voters. And then sometimes at some locations there's also interpreters. There's also a set of people who work not at the polling location, at City Hall, who do central tabulation, counting the mail-in ballots, particularly for elections like this upcoming one where there's a lot. So the days can actually be kind of varied. There's also 2 weeks of early voting, so lots of people are working those shifts also, which have different schedules. For me personally, because I'm a little bit, I don't know what the word is, I get up at 4 in the morning, and it's like a whole thing, and it's goes until 8:30 or so at night. So it's a really long day. It does kind of fly by, actually.
What's your favorite part of the day?
Helping voters, for sure. I think the thing that's been my favorite is definitely first-time voters, people who have, showing up and they have questions, or they might have paperwork issues to deal with. That always feels really rewarding to help someone vote, and particularly sometimes we've had new students and things like that voting, where it's their first election. It's like making sure they don't leave the polling location without casting a ballot is kind of rewarding. But lots of people have lots of issues when
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, tell me, what's one thing that you wish the public knew about poll work?
I guess it's not as scary. I feel like a lot of times people tell me that they would think about doing it, but that they don't feel like they want to be super responsible. But particularly being an inspector, if you're just sitting at the check-in and checkout tables, there are obviously responsibilities to that, but it's not a terribly complicated job. You just kind of have to be friendly to people and patient with them, and help make sure that they get the ballot that they need and that they get it in and out. So I kind of wish people would do it more often. I feel like a lot of times I talk to people and they say they would like to do it or would consider doing it, and then they just don't.
So there's also opportunities for our youth here, right? For our Boston Public School students. My understanding is that our Boston Public School students can become poll workers as long as they're 16 years old of age, and they also get paid.
Yes, they do, and typically they don't work the whole day. We actually have a BPS student that I've worked with in 3, I think, of the last elections, and travels who is exactly that situation, comes with his mom, who's also a poll worker, who's great, stays part of the day, usually hangs out drawing for a little while at the table between voters, and that's it.
That's awesome. That really is.
So one other thing too that I should share. So you have to be a registered voter in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to be a poll worker, but you don't actually have to live in Boston to be a poll worker in Boston. And I've actually worked with a number of poll workers who just like working in Boston because it's a convenient location, or they work in Boston and they're outside the city. It's good for people to know.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. Become a poll worker today, receive a small stipend, and become civically engaged.